Welcome to the Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 8-game slate, and my goodness, this is one pitching slate that I don't wish on anyone, and we got to cover it.
I'm sorry if that grossed people out, but this is not pretty. I mean, obviously, you're gonna have to figure something out, but this is Puke City.
Puke. This is a bad slate for pitching, but I mean, there are options. You feel my comfortableness is like here, like that's for a top option. That's not good though.
Usually it's here. Today it's like here.
Yeah, it's not good. But looking in the games here, I got Blue Jays and Yankees first one of the night. Marco Estrada, Ivan Nova, 8.5 over under. Yankees minus 104 favorites. Estrada's pitched pretty well this season. Going up against the Yankees team that's starting to come around a little bit. The guys who've been struggling to kind of bounce back, guys like Ellsbury, Beltran's crushing right now. Estrada's pitched reasonably well. I'm a little bit concerned, but I think he could be in line for kind of a quality start, which would probably be at best on tonight's slate. I don't see anyone kind of breaking out and having a monster game.
Right. I mean, he has shown that upside. I think we've seen it like 4 or 5 times this year where he's gotten over 20 DK points. He's got strikeout upside, and this Yankees lineup has come around quite a bit since the beginning of the year, but on a slate like tonight, I think Estrada is one of the better arms, and that might make him worth it in a tournament. I think there are some better cash game arms, but in terms of upside, I do think he has some there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 24% strikeout rate this year, 11% swinging strike rate. So, I mean, he's gone up against some good teams this season. He's done particularly well, especially in the strikeout department. So, I definitely like that right there. I think could be kind of a sneaky one just because that big total. I think people are going to kind of trend downwards to those 7.5 totals, those better ballparks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan Nova on the other side, I think he's just going to be a kind of an option for me to target against with some of these Jays bats. I think the Jays bats are going to be kind of contrarian tonight, just because of really their struggles and up and downs for most of the season.
Yeah, I know. So throw them in there in tournaments, hope it hits, but cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. Next one here, you got Diamondbacks and Pirates over under of 8. Pittsburgh minus 115 favorites. Ruby De La Rosa, Jeff Locke. De La Rosa's pitched pretty well, but I think in this matchup, I'm kind of just going to stay away. This Pirates team, good. I mean, 1 through 8, I like them a lot. They don't present a ton of upside to opponents. So even on tonight's slate, I'm not the biggest De La Rosa fan still.
I can't do it. I can't. This Pirates offense just has too much upside against De La Rosa and a righty that I just can't do it. Polanco's just been crushing the ball lately. Obviously, McCutchen and Marte still there. So, yeah, just not something I can do. They're pretty much off limits for me unless it's an ace.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, they don't strike out a ton, 18.1%, and rank 4th in WOBA against righties. So, as well as he's pitched this season, I think it's just kind of maybe on the next time,
Yeah.
Jeff Locke, on the other hand, oh, God, no. I'm looking to take some of those Arizona right-handed bats. Locke is not a good arm and not a great matchup by any means.
A Brandon Drury type of night.
Yeah, you can. I mean, Wellington Castillo. I mean, you can go. There's a lot of righties to take a look at.
Yeah.
Next one here, you got the Rockies and Red Sox highest over-under of the night at 9.5. Stephen Wright versus Chad Bettis. Boston minus 180 favorites. As well as Wright's pitch this season, I think I'm kind of hesitant on deploying him in cash games tonight. I don't mind him in GPPs just because he's shown some strong upside against good opponents, but I still think he's in a little bit of trouble here, and I think you can kind of pay down a little bit. The price tag's much higher than I want it to be.
Yeah, I think we saw I think we saw a few times this year with this Rockies offense. It's not their home away splits are bad, but they can still bite you hard even when they're on the road. So he's all right. Again, on a slate like tonight, he's still in play for tournaments, but on a normal slate, I'd just be brushing right by him.
Yeah, I think you're looking at, I mean, reasonably, I think, 15 to 18 points is probably a reasonable outcome for him tonight. Just
Mhm.
consider he gets the win, maybe a quality start. Maybe it's 3 to 4 earned runs, 6 innings. But at 8,800, I feel like I can get that price cheaper,
Mhm.
and kind of even maybe surpass upside at a cheaper price tag. So I think that's why the price tag's a little bit more daunting as well.
And for tonight, considering he's the highest priced pitcher, does salary really even matter?
I mean, yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, if I can spin down to Iwakuma at 75, who can give me a similar price. But other than that,
Yeah. Do you know what I mean though? Like in a sense, it's not like a normal slate where you really have to crunch the numbers to fit some guys in. I think it's going to be pretty loose in terms of fitting the lineup in after you throw the pitchers in.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, but still, it's still a difference between maybe an extra tier one player in there instead of a tier two.
Hmm.
I'm just talking price or projection outweighs come the end of the night. I think Wright's going to be pretty average,
Right.
so I'd rather pay down to get the same outcome.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general, tonight is a little the salary is a little looser.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you can have some fun with your lives as far as hitters go. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who you throw in anyway.
You can unbutton that first button like after Thanksgiving dinner, you know? Have an extra slice of pie.
Chad Bettis on the other side.
No.
Boston team total sitting at 5 right now. I'm
Yeah.
taking the over. No way you're targeting anyone against this ball club right now.
I almost jinxed Jackie Bradley, but I'm not going to do it. So we're going to move on. But yeah, I mean, you're stacking Red Sox tonight. If you're not, then you're a wild person. Probably going to be the cash move.
Yeah,
Um, so I think that's pretty chalky and a way to sort of figure things out in cash.
yeah, definitely. Brewers and Braves here. I mean, 7.5 over under. We saw this one pretty low scoring last night. Milwaukee minus 118 favorites. Junior Guerra on the hill. Mike Foltynewicz. Guerra's a guy who's interesting just because of the slate. He gets a decent matchup against a Braves team that's we've been picked on all year. SP2 wise, I don't really mind him on DK. Not sure there's quite enough upside though on FanDuel just because of the Braves strikeout rate. They don't strike out a ton against right-handed pitching, so uh, I kind of want to find someone with a little bit higher strikeout rate.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm still looking at it from the sense of it's the Braves. So yeah, he's an arm. That's what no one can take that away from him. He is a pitcher in the MLB. Um, and he'll probably make it into a few of my cash lineups just because I think this Braves lineup can kind of get shut down. Like you mentioned, the strikeout rate isn't necessarily there, but I think they can get shut down pretty much any night. So this is a good night to target them, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, where's a guy who's just I mean, he's going to come out there and probably throw a quality start as many pitchers have against the Braves. And at that price tag, I definitely don't mind them. And you could even spin down. I think Iwakuma at 75, Guerra at 74 is a decent 1-2 punch there for cash games.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, Fulcinowitz has been up and down this season. Going to face a heavily right-handed lineup, but overall, I think Brewers are kind of actually a contrarian move as far as some one-offs. So I think with that being said, I'm kind of going to be staying away.
Yeah, definitely with you there.
Next one here, you got Marlins and Rays, Justin Nicolino, Matt Andriese. Over under of 8, Tampa minus 177 favorites. I'm a big fan of Andriese tonight in cash games.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of the guy who I'm looking at. 8,100 on DK, not too badly priced. 76 on FanDuel. Outside of his Tiger start, been very consistent, went deep into games. He's been a guy who hasn't really been shelled by hitters in the past. I mean, small major league sample size going back to last year, but not a big strikeout guy, but overall, I think against this Marlins team without Christian Yelich, kind of slumping a bit here with Stanton. So I'm definitely not scared, especially in Tropicana.
I actually like this quite a bit. I mean, Vegas likes him, so that's one of the few matchups that Vegas actually likes for anyone tonight. So I think this is a good matchup, good shot at a win, and he actually has performed well. This Marlins lineup hasn't been too great. So, especially against righties. So I think I'm in on him tonight, potentially in cash for me.
Yeah. Nicolino on the other side. You look at this Rays team, big 4.5 run total. I'm staying away. They got a ton of right-handed bats in that lineup, and I'm looking at really kind of the Rays as a second, really a second team option tonight behind the Red Sox.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Next one here, you got Orioles and Astros, 8.5 over under. Houston minus 132. Got Wilson and McHugh. McHugh kind of an interesting GPP arm just because this Baltimore team just so up and down. The strikeout rate's been relatively high. I mean, 22% against right-handed pitching this season, and it seems like a lot of those bats are kind of struggling. But McHugh has a relatively low floor, but at that price tag, I mean, there is some decent upside, and I'll take a roll of the dice there in tournaments.
We actually didn't talk about him before the show started, but yeah, he's definitely a nice tournament one-off for me. And there's obviously a lot of guys in that range tonight, so I actually could see a scenario where he gets 20 to 25 points for DraftKings, because this Orioles team just has really off nights sometimes, and you stack them and then they get like 5 points total. So I do think there is some upside against this Orioles team, even though they are the power sort of perceived strong offense. They do have down nights. So on a night like tonight, I think you kind of take that gamble with McHugh in tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, over the last 2 weeks, I mean, they ranked 19th in WOBA, 22% strikeout rate. So, I mean, that strikeout's been kind of consistent as the season has gone on. So, overall, I mean, I'm not too afraid of this. There is a relatively low floor, so I think you should know the risk going in with McHugh.
Yeah.
It's by far a risky play, but there is some upside there. And I think, he's found it two of the last 3 starts. He's shown that upside. So, and we have seen it in the past.
Right. Yeah. I mean, both sides. The Orioles offense makes him low floor, and then he makes himself low floor. So yeah, I mean, it's all the range of outcomes here is like -3 to like 20, but you kind of got to take that on a night like tonight.
Yeah, definitely. On the other side, Tyler Wilson, a cheap arm, 5,500, but the whole slate is cheap as far as pitching goes. I don't think you really need to steep down that low. I know this Houston offense has been underperforming this season, but I can't see a ton of upside in Wilson.
Not a route I'm going down.
Yeah. Next games here, we got A's and Mariners, and Iwakuma is kind of one of my favorite arms on the slate against Zach Neal. You're looking at Vegas, big favorites there, -178, 7.5 over under. You like Safeco Field there for pitchers. Iwakuma, fairly inconsistent for what we're calling a cash game play this season, but I don't mind him tonight against this A's team that doesn't have Josh Reddick. They rank in the bottom 7 in WOBA. They don't strike out a ton, but Iwakuma is a guy who, at that price, you don't need him to really have 6+ strikeouts.
Right. So I think Iwakuma and Andres are the guys you're really looking at, and I might be looking at another guy. But those are kind of the 2 main cash arms, I think, that are and in a range where I think they have a solid range of outcomes in terms of Vegas as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Zach Neal, on the other hand, not really a big fan, looking to take some Mariners bats against them. Last game of the night here, you got Reds and Dodgers, Dan Straley versus Scott Kazmir. I might be just a little bit recency bias just because I'm coming off of a Kazmir start against the Padres where he walked 7. I still think he's playable in GPPs just because this Reds offense hasn't been that great. It's definitely kind of a tournament swerve, though, for me, and that's probably about as far as I'm going to go.
That's fair. Yeah, I just look at Votto and Bruce in that lefty-lefty matchup, and I think, okay, that kind of takes a lot of the pop out of this Reds lineup. Vegas kind of agrees in a sense, and then Kazmir has been super inconsistent, but he has had some good starts as well. So he's probably just a tournament arm, but I do think he has some reasonable upside with the slate considered.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we've seen some big strikeout performances, so and you like the ballpark. Vegas likes him as well, so Yeah, I don't mind him in tournaments, but I think my shares are going to be fairly low. I mean, that's strictly probably because of last start. I'm
No,
still
that's
a little
fair.
bit irked.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's going to wrap things up here with the Pitcher Nail Down. Be sure to check out thefantasycafe.com for all great tools and content.